Hello, my name is Jenny. I am a student of English literature at a university in London. Today, I want to share a day in my life and how I improve my English every day. I was born in a small town where most people spoke our native language. My parents were not fluent in English, but they always encouraged me to learn. I remember my first day in middle school. My teacher entered the classroom and said, "Good morning," in English. Everyone looked confused, including me. I thought, what is she saying? At that moment, I realized that English was something special. It was a language that connected people from different parts of the world. I was only 12 years old, but I decided that I would learn this language, no matter how difficult it would be. Learning English was not easy for me. I still remember my first English test. I got only 3 out of 10. I felt so embarrassed. My classmates laughed at me, and I started to believe that I would never learn English. My pronunciation was terrible, and I couldn't understand grammar rules. Words like is, was, and were confused me. I would sit alone in my room, looking at English books with tears in my eyes. I thought to myself, why is this so hard for me? But then, something happened. One day my father saw me crying. He sat beside me and said, "Jenny, you must never give up. Anything is possible if you work hard and practice every day." Those words stayed in my heart. The next day, I went to the library and picked up a small storybook. It was a children's book called The Little Prince. At first, I didn't understand every word, but I didn't stop. I used a dictionary to find the meanings of difficult words. Day by day, I fell in love with reading. I discovered so many beautiful stories in English. Books became my best friends. They taught me new words, grammar, and how to build sentences. Every evening, I would sit by the window with a cup of tea and read. I felt proud when I finished my first full book. Even though I loved reading, I was still afraid to speak English. My pronunciation was not perfect, and I worried about making mistakes, but I knew I had to practice. So, I started speaking to myself in front of a mirror. Every morning, I would say simple sentences like, "Hello, my name is Jenny. I am learning English." At first, I felt silly. But the more I practiced, the more confident I became. I also began watching English movies with subtitles. I listened to the way actors spoke and repeated their lines. For example, when I watched Harry Potter, I loved hearing Hermione say, "It's Leviosa, not Leviosa." I would repeat it again and again until I got it right. Soon I started speaking to my friends who knew a little English. We would practice together, correcting each other's mistakes. Speaking became easier and less scary. After high school, I decided to study English literature at a university in London. It was a big decision, but I wanted to learn from the best. When I arrived in London, I was amazed. The city was full of life, tall buildings, red buses, and people from all over the world. However, living in London was not easy. On my first day, I went to a cafe to order a coffee. I was so nervous that I forgot how to say black coffee. I stuttered and said, just coffee? Black?" The cashier smiled and said, "Don't worry, here you go." I felt embarrassed, but I learned that it's okay to make mistakes. People are kind and they will understand. Living in London helped me improve my English quickly. I listened to people speaking on the streets, in the bus, and at university. I made friends from different countries, and we would speak in English all the time. At university, I studied the works of great English writers like Shakespeare, Jane Austen, and Charles Dickens. I remember reading Romeo and Juliet for the first time. The language was old and difficult, but it was beautiful. Our professor said, "Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Literature is about feelings and imagination." That advice helped me a lot. I started to enjoy poetry, stories, and essays. In my free time, I would go to the library and spend hours reading classic novels. I loved Pride and Prejudice the most. The main character, Elizabeth Bennet, inspired me. She was smart, brave, and confident. Everything I wanted to be. Another way I improved my English was by writing. Every night I wrote in my diary. I would write about my day, my thoughts, and my dreams. For example, today I went to the park and saw beautiful flowers. The weather was sunny, and I felt happy. I spoke to an old woman who told me a story about her life. She was kind and sweet. Writing helped me organize my ideas and learn new vocabulary. I also started writing short stories. My professor read one of my stories and said, "Jenny, you have a gift for storytelling." Those words made me feel proud and encouraged me to write more. One day, I had to give a presentation in class. I was so nervous that I said, "She go to the library every day," instead of, "She goes to the library every day." My classmates smiled, and I realized my mistake. After the presentation, my professor said, "Jenny, you did a great job. Mistakes are part of learning. Keep going." That day I learned something important. Making mistakes is okay. Every mistake teaches you something new. I stopped being afraid and started enjoying the process of learning English. After completing my studies, I decided to help others learn English. I started teaching English to younger students who were just like me, scared and confused. I told them my story and encouraged them not to give up. I would say, start with simple things. Read short stories, write small sentences, and speak as much as you can. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learning a language is a journey, and every step counts. Seeing my students improve made me so happy. I realized that learning English was not just about grammar or vocabulary. It was about communication, confidence, and connection. Conclusion. A message to all English learners. Today I am proud of how far I have come. Learning English has changed my life. It has given me confidence, opportunities, and a way to connect with people around the world. If you are learning English, remember: 1. Read every day. Start with simple books. 2. Write your thoughts in a diary. 3. Speak as much as you can. Don't worry about mistakes. 4. Listen to English songs, movies, and conversations. Learning English is not a race. It's a journey. Take one step at a time, and you will succeed. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to keep learning and growing. See you next time.